कस्तूरी तिलकं ललाटपटले वक्षस्थले कौस्तुभम् नासाग्रे वर्मौक्तिकं करतले वेणुकरे कङ्कणम् सर्वाङ्गे हरिचन्दनं सुललितं कण्ठे च मुक्तावली गोपास्त्री परिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपाल चूडामणि वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. Reading from Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran. We are now in Canto 9 and very soon we should be completing this canto. And we will move into the next canto, which is the most awaited canto, Canto 12, Canto 10, Dashamaskand, which is also the longest with 90 chapters, and that has all the Leelas of Sri Krishna. So, but the prelude is what we are reading. Krishna came from which dynasty? So the entire dynasty is discussed in 9th chapter. Krishna appears in Chandravansh because at the beginning of the creation we have Manuji as the first, our ancestral being, as the first personality, because before that there is Brahmaji and the Manas Putras. But from Manuji, the normal biological creation begins. So he is our first ancestor. And from Manuji, we have the descendants. And one of the personalities is Ila, who is married into Chandravans. And Manu is married into Suryavansh. So in Suryavansh, we have Manuji, we have Vivaswan, sun god, and Shri Ramchandji appears in that. And Ila, so Manu and Ila are the children of Brahmaji, and Ila is in the dynasty of Chandravansh, which begins with Atri Muni, and then his son Som, and his son Pudurva, then Yayati, and that's how we come to the dynasty of Yadu, which will be taken up in the next chapter. Today we will read the dynasty before Yadu. So why Shri Krishna is called Yaduvanshi, that will become very much clear. And then we will read about the personalities like Shursen and Ugrasen. These are the names which we come across when we read about the immediate ancestry of Sri Krishna. So let us read this chapter, but before that, we shall begin with a bhajan. And today's bhajan is Radhe Govind Govind Radhe, Radhe Govind Govind Radhe. So, Yatin Bhaiya, would you like to read the translation before we sing the bhajan?
जी भैया, राधे राधे। आ, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे। ओ माई राधे गोविंद, I desire neither bhakti, material pleasures, nor mukti, liberation. I only desire the sweet nectar of your divine love. Make me a servant of your servant's servant. You are the ocean of the nectar of Braj. I am begging you for just a drop. Bless me with gopi prem through any of your gopis. Make me such that I always shed tears of love when I call your name. Make me such that I always sing your glories with ecstasy. Make me such that I always meditate on your divine form. Make me such that I see you whenever I cast my glance. Make me such that I become unable to live without you. O loving daughter of King Vrishbhanu, O Radharani, says Shri Kripalu, tell me if there is anybody as bad as me in this world. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. So, Radhe Govind Govind Radhe, Radhe Govind Govind Radhe. Radhe Govind Govind Radhe, Radhe Govind Govind Radhe. Radhe Govind Govind Radhe, Radhe Govind Govind Radhe. भुक्ति मुक्ति ना दे राधे प्रेम सुधा दे भुक्ति मुक्ति 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 ना दे राधे प्रेम सुधा दे प्रेम सुधा दे निज दासी 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 बना दे निज दासी 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 बना दे राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे ब्रज रस की एक बूंद पिला दे ब्रज रस की एक बूंद पिला दे को गोपी ते गोपी प्रेम दिला दे को गोपी ते गोपी प्रेम दिला दे राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे तेरा नाम लेके रोऊं ऐसी बना दे तेरा नाम लेके रोऊं ऐसी बना दे तेरा गुण गाऊं नित ऐसी बना दे तेरा गुण गाऊं नित ऐसी बना दे राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे तेरी छवि द्याऊं नित ऐसी बना दे तेरी छवि द्याऊं नित ऐसी बना दे जित देखूं तू ही दिखे ऐसी बना दे जित देखूं तू ही दिखे ऐसी बना दे तेरे बिनु जीऊं नहीं ऐसी बना दे तेरे बिन जीऊं नहीं ऐसी बना दे राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे। श्री वृषभानु दुलारी प्यारी राधे, श्री वृषभानु दुलारी प्यारी राधे। को हो कृपालु सो जो बुरा तो बता दे, को हो कृपालु सो जो बुरा तो बता दे। राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे। बोलिए श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय, श्रीमद युगल सरकार की जय। जय जय श्री राधे, जय
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 श्री
श्री
राधे,
राधे,
जय जय
जय
श्री
श्री
राधे।
राधे।
Our koti pranam to the lotus feet of Sri Hari and Sri Guru. Our koti pranam to Swami Mukundananji. My humble pranam to each one of you. And now let us read from the chapter 24 about the Vidarbha Vansh.
20, chapter
Chapter
23 भैया.
23, chapter 23, which is the description of the dynasty of Anu, Drihu, Truvasu, and Yadu. And after that, we read the last chapter, which will be in the next session. That will be the Vidarbha Kavansh, the dynasty of Vidarbha, in which will feature Yaduji Maharaj and Vasudev ji and Krishna ji. And that's how logically the 10th canto begins, with the birth of Shri Krishna, with the avatar of Shri Krishna. So the Lord doesn't take birth like us. Lord is divine. He is kartum akartum anyatha kartum samartha. So this definition of the Lord must be very clear to us, that the Lord is the one who does whatever he wishes to do and doesn't do whatever he doesn't wish to do. This is not the case with us. Can we do everything that we wish to do? Can we just fly to the universe, into the universal sky? No. But the Lord can do that. Can we lift a mountain on our fingertip? No. But the Lord can do it. So God can do whatever he wishes to do, and he doesn't do whatever he doesn't wish to do. That is not the case with us. Sometimes we are prompted to do things which we did not wish to do, but we don't have the control. As if, we are led by some internal forces. So, kartum akartum anyatha kartum samartha means the one who does what he wishes to do, the one who doesn't do what he does not wish to do, and the one who can do the reverse of whatever he does. So this is such a complete phenomenal definition. That means God is beyond our imagination. Can he create this entire universe? Yes, this entire universe he has created as per the Vedic literature. And how vast is the creation? Our one Brahmand itself is absolutely impossible to understand. It is 4.4 billion miles in diameter, and it has got so many different lokas. And we learned in school that the earth is rotating and the earth is circling around the sun, but what is written in Vedic scripture is completely different. As per Vedic scripture, the Bhumandal is stationary, earth is the part of Bhumandal, and it is the sun which is rotating around the Meru Parvat, and the rotation of the sun causes the day and night. And the sun has another motion, it is going up and down, Uttarayan and Dakshinayan, and that's how the climate changes. So everything is so fascinating about God. Now, some people may say, no, I don't believe it. So, God never forces anyone to believe or not to believe. It is left up to us. But we study Bhagavad Gita also. Twice in a week, we have classes in Bhagavad Gita. And what we read in Bhagavad Gita is so astounding. First of all, Bhagavad Gita introduces the concept of the soul. And this is where, in my opinion, we don't do sufficient research. So much Krishna has spoken about the soul in Bhagavad Gita, the song of God. Because Bhagavad Gita is a concise summary of all the knowledge. As if the Lord felt no one is going to read Vedas and no one is capable of understanding. So let me write something very pithy, very abbreviated, very concise, crisp, succinct, so that the guru can explain with simple, sutras or formulas or aphorisms or verses. So when we go into the chapter 2 in Bhagavad Gita, the song of God, from the verse number 15 to verse number 29, Sri Krishna talks about the soul. That means how important for us it is to understand the soul, which is there in our body. We are living because the soul is there. When the soul goes out, we are out because we are the soul. The body is an attachment. It is material. The soul, which is eternal, is the sentient. The body is jad, it is insentient. So I was reflecting about it in the recent days and I felt how much Sri Krishna has spoken about the soul. But we do not understand the soul so very well. And that's where we are missing the first step. If we do not understand the soul, how can we understand God? Because the soul is the part of God. Soul is the part of the super soul. So, why is it that Sri Krishna is saying that na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah? What is real will never diminish, will never perish. So, the eternal element will always be there. That is why it is called the absolute truth. And then he goes on to describe that the soul is unborn, ageless, eternal, infinitely long. And then he says, Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chainam kledya yantyapo, na shoshyati marutaha. It cannot be dried, it cannot be burnt, it cannot be wetted, it cannot be cleaved. And look at Sri Krishna's passion in narrating this. He repeats the same verse again. Na chedyo yam, na dahyo yam, akledyo ashoshya yom, ashosyam cha. Achedyo adahyo akledyo ashosyam evacha. Same thing what he repeated in 23, he repeats in 24. And again he says, no vikar, avikari, it does not have any vikar, any deficiency. It does not have, it does not manifest. What I'm trying to say, there is so much of description about the soul, which we must understand before we are talking about the spiritual realm. And the first knowledge is to understand our soul. So our soul is always yearning for the bliss. And that bliss is another name of God. Krishna's name is bliss, Anand. But because of ignorance, we are looking for happiness in the world, which is deceptive. That happiness does not satisfy. So, once again, before we read the text, I just want to repeat the very important knowledge. What is the difference between worldly happiness and the real happiness, which is the spiritual happiness? The worldly happiness is limited, it is not unlimited. Means unlimited means 10 kg, 20 kg, 30 kg, 40 kgs, you keep on going, it never diminishes. That is unlimited. But 10 kg, 20 kg, if you stop there, that is limited. So, like this example, the worldly happiness is limited, but the divine happiness is unlimited. Once a person gets it, it keeps growing. That is number one. Number two, worldly happiness is temporary. You bought the car and you were very happy on the first day, but then that magnitude of happiness of the first day is gone. After 5 years, there is no happiness from the car. Divine happiness is permanent. It is always there. So this is the second difference. And the third difference is the material happiness is sentient, jad, and divine happiness is the material happiness is insentient, jad, but the divine happiness is dynamic. It is sentient. When you are eating a jalebi, that is jar, it is not sentient, but the divine happiness is sentient. So that's the reason we all want permanent happiness, permanent peace, permanent knowledge, and that is available only in the divine association, not in the worldly association. And there isn't any way to acquire this knowledge, acquire this acquisition than reading Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran, because this is the highest Vedic literature. So, with that background, let us read the text. Let me read the first couple of slides and then we will hand over to the participants. So, Canto 9, Chapter 23, King Yayati's Sons. King Yayati's other son Anu had three sons, Shabhanar, Chakshu, and Padokch. Shabhanar's son was Kalnar, whose son was Srunjay, whose son was Janmejay, whose son was Mahashil, whose son was Mahamana, who had two sons, Ushanir and Titikchu. Ushinar had four sons, Shibi, one, pronounced one, Shami, and Daksh. Shibi had four sons, Bruhashdarv, Suvir, Madra, and Kake, while Titikchu had Rushdrat, whose son was Hem, whose son was Sutap, whose son was Bali. King Bali, with his wife through the agency of Rishi Dirghatma, had six sons, Ang, Vang, Kaling, Shumma, Pundra, and Andhra. The eldest three sons had established powerful regions with their names. Ang's son was Khanpan, whose son was Divirath, whose son was Dharmarath, whose son was Chitrarath. Chitrarath is also famous as Romapad. Romapad was childless, so he adopted Shant, King Dashrath's daughter. Shant married sage Rishyasingh, whose parents were Rishi Vibhandak and Harini. When Romepad's kingdom did not have rains for many years, the courtesans had enthusiastically been singing, dancing, welcoming, pleased Rishya Singha and got him to the kingdom, after which the rains followed into the kingdom by his conducting a yagya, worshipping Indradev, and with another yagya also begot a son to Rompad, then performing a yagya for kings. Dashrath also got him four sons. Rompa's son was Chaturang, whose son was Prithulaksha, who had three sons, Bruhadrat, Bruhatkarma, and Bruhat Bhanu. Bruhadrath's son was Bruhamana, whose son was Jayadrath with wife Sambhuti, and had a son Vijay, whose son was Dhruti, whose son was Dhrutrath, whose son was Satkarm, whose son was Adhirath. Adhirath was childless, and once while roaming on the banks of Ganga, he came across a basket flowing with a baby. Inside the baby was Karn, a child of Suryadev, and Kunti, who was born to Kunti before her marriage to King Pandu, and hence she had to abandon the child in the Ganga. Adhirath then adopted this child Karn. Karn's child was Vrushen. King Yayati's another son Druhu had Babru as his son, whose son was Setu, whose son was Arbd, whose son was Gandhar, whose son was Dharm, whose son was Dhrut, whose son was Durmana, whose son was Pracheta. Pracheta had 100 sons who ruled over the Mleksha in the north. King Yayati's son Turvashu had Vani, whose son was Bharg, whose son was Bhanuman, whose son was Tribhanu, whose son was a very generous Karandham, whose son was Marut. Marut was childless and adopted King Dushyant. But King Dushyant, desiring to rule his own kingdom, revered and returned back. Now, O Parikshit, I shall tell the lineage of King Yayati's son Yadu. This glorious clan is the most pure and washes the sins of man. Hearing this revered lineage is capable of clearing the sins of all, which is glorified with the manifestation of Sri Krishna. Verse 9:23-19. वर्णयामि महापुण्यं सर्वपापहरं नृणां यदोर्वंशः नरः श्रुत्वा सर्वपापैः प्रमुच्यते. Translation. Now, O jewel of men, I proceed to give an account of posterity of Yadu, the eldest son of Yayati, which is productive of extraordinary religious merit and capable of wiping but all the sins of men. A man is completely rid of all sins by listening to an account of Yadu's line in which the Almighty Lord, the Supreme Spirit, took his descent. Radhe Radhe. Yatin ji.
जी भैया. Anyone from the audience?
Do you want me to read it, Bhaiya, please?
If you want, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Yadu had 4 sons, Sahasrajit, Kroshta, Nal, and Ripu. Sahasrajit's son was Shadjit, who had 3 sons, Mahahai, Venuhai, and Hayai. Hayya, I can't pronounce this word. Hayhaya. Is that correct, Rajesh ji?
Yeah. It's okay.
Hayhaya had Dharma as his son, whose son was Netra, father of Kunti. Kunti's son was Sohanji, whose son was Mahishman, whose son was Bhadrasen. Bhadrasen had 2 sons, Durmad and Dhanak. Dhanak had 4 sons, Krutvirya, Krutagni, Krutvarma, and Oyuja. Krutvirya's son was Emperor Arjun, who ruled over the 7 Dvipas and got a boon from Lord Dattatreya on self-knowledge. Anima, Laghima, kind of many mystic powers. No emperor can match the feat and accomplishments of Emperor Arjun. Ruling for 85,000 years, the emperor fulfilled all his desires of his senses without the fear of losing his opulences or wealth. He was so powerful that by just remembering the emperor, any person would regain his lost wealth. All of the emperor's sons, except 5, were slain by Parshuramji. The surviving 5 were Jayadhvaj, Shurshen, Rishabh, Madhu, and Urjit. Jayadhvaj's son was Taljang, who further had 100 sons, were known as Taljang. Kshatriyas. King Sahagar, on the instructions of sage Ayurva, Slade defeated them. The eldest, Taljung, was Vitihotra, whose son was Madhu, whose eldest son was Vrushni among 100 sons of Madhu. O Parikshit, due to them, these clans came to be known as Madhavas, Vrushneyas, and Yadavs.
Right. Yeah, the family tree looks very nice, but I think we'll have to read it in the individual laptop, right?
Shall I carry on with the next page, please?
Yeah, Didi, please.
The other son of Yadu, Kroshta, had Vrunjivan as his son, whose son was Shwahi, whose son was Rusheku, whose son was Chitrarth, whose son was Shashbindu, who was a great Upkamlesh yogi and exalted too. Owing in abundance the 14 jewels comprising of elephants, horses, chariots, women, arrows, wealth, spears, flowers, trees, javelin, noose, gems, canopies, and aerial vehicles. He had 10,000 wives, with each bearing 1 lakh sons, comprising of 1 billion sons. Prominent among them is Pruthshava and 5 others. Pruthshava had Dharma as his son, whose son was Ushna, who completed 100 Ashwamedh sacrifices. His son was Ruchak, who had 5 sons. Purujit, Rukma, Rukmeshu, Prutu, and Jayamag. Jayamag was terrified of his wife Shebya, and despite being childless, did not remarry, defeating in a fight Bhojas of Bhoj dynasty. As an award, he got the daughter Bhojya of the defeated king to his kingdom. Shebya, on seeing a female with the king, was very furious. But the king clarified to her that the child, female, would be her daughter-in-law to her future son. Then the very pleased Shebya asked him how that would be possible without a son. Jamed, in reply, worshipped Vishwadev and his ancestors, who were pleased with his prayers. And then a brilliant son was born to Shebya, named Vidarbha, who then married Bhoj.
Right. So we have concluded the texts, and this is the Bhakti Shatak verse as the takeaway. So let me just sing the verse, and then Yatin ji can read. कारण हरि अवतार को कृपा अकारण जान राधे राधे अपरजित कारण कहे तिनहि गौन करी मान राधे राधे. Okay, you can read the translation and the explanation.
Translation. The scriptures have stated many reasons for the dissension of the Supreme Personality, which are all acceptable. However, the main reason for his descent is to shower causeless mercy upon individual souls. Explanation. Innumerable dissensions of God always keep happening. Hence, there is a repeated question in the mind of ordinary people that when God possesses the power to resolve and can do everything with his mere will, what is the necessity of descending to destroy demons, protect sadhus, establish righteousness, etc.?
Yeah, you can read the next page also. Prayojan manu dvishya na mandopi pravartate. Okay. Is there a next page?
No, this is the
No. Okay.
last.
Okay. So this is the page. So the message here is about avatar. So we have all heard Bhagwan ne avatar liya. God has taken the avatar. So what is this avatar? When we read Bhagavad Gita, there was a prominent shlok Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirvavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyam paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskitam sans dharma sanstapna arthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. And Tulsidas has written the same shloka in his Ramayana. जब जब होए धर्म की हानि बार ही असुर अधम अभिमानी तब तब प्रभु लिन्नी विविध शरीरा, something like that, to kill the demoniac, etc. So the question arises, just to kill the demons God has to take avatar? He is all knowing, he is all powerful, he can just bat his eyelid and the demoniac can die. So God also plays very mystically, his leelas. He hides many points which the sages and the scholars they interpret. So here the interpretation is that God takes avatar for the most important reason is to delight the devotees. So his descent is to shower causeless mercy upon individual souls. So, because God took the form, he came as Krishna. We have the Krishna Leela. How we would have known, how we would have relished Krishna lifting the Govardhan Parvat, or Krishna stealing the butter and the milk produces the products, how Krishna would have danced on the hood of Kalyanag. All this happened because Krishna took an avatar. And those Leelas of Krishna have become a vital point in our meditation, in our progress. We have been given this human body to achieve God. That's the purpose of getting a human body. Out of 8.4 million species, only the human body is capable of achieving God by his own efforts. Every other species is self evolutionary. The law of karma is applicable only in the human form. That is why this human body, which is so complex, still it is considered the highest reward from the Lord, that we have got the human body so that we can achieve God with this human body. So, and the way to do it is to do Bhakti Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga is about remembering that supreme entity. And to remember that supreme entity, all these leelas are becoming so helpful. So that is the point. While we are about to conclude this ninth canto, we should freshen up our Tattva Gyan, and which is what we did today. We spoke about the soul, and we spoke about the avatar, and we should also know that bhakti alone can fetch us the highest reward, which is the blessings in the lotus feet of Sri Hari and Sri Guru. No other method can take us to that highest goal. We can achieve a lot through Brahma Gyan, through meditation, but for achieving Sri Krishna, who is the highest entity, the supreme destination, we need to perform Bhakti Yoga. So that is a little bit of explanation and the text for today. Now, Yatinji, we can open up for the discussion and invite participants to contribute, and also your own assessment of this chapter, Yatinji.
Radhe Radhe Bhaiya. As usual, very good session. So, I mean, I like this format where we like before reading the text of the chapter, we like summarize what we have read before, and also talk about, like you talk about on the on the topics which are actually relevant related to this. And as you said, like Tattva Gyan. So we always need to remember these things, because I mean it's very easy to actually forget who we are and what is our ultimate aim in operating in this world. Like when we sit and we think about it, then it is we remember it, but it's actually it's very easy to forget it. Yeah. And the story of Krishna Bhagwan's lineage and how it is like coming to this second. I'm also like looking very much forward to the Canto 10th and all the chapters. So it will be very fun. I mean, it is always fun, but it will be much more fun to prepare the slides for those next sessions and all these things. So I'm just looking forward to it. And also at the end, the discussion is like. I mean, these are the like very much essence of all of the scriptures that I mean, I think I have also asked you this particular question in like 10 or 15 sessions before, that why God needs to come down to earth and like fight these demons or everyone himself, while he is like all powerful, all knowing. He knows that what is going to happen. Still, he comes down and he do all these things, and he lives here for like 13,000 years or some everything. And so I mean, that time also you explained it very well, and the same reason which you have said it today also, that it is for the Leela and it is for the showering mercy and love to the people. So yeah, I mean, uh, uh, it's good to revise all these things over and over
Wonderful.
again and remember these things. Yeah. So yeah, good session. Yeah, thank you for this, and also yeah, I mean, I'm amazed actually at your knowledge. You remember
No,
all these things from before and all the shlokas and everything, and the essence of the things also. Not even like just the text, but the meaning, deep meaning behind it, and the essence also. Yeah. So
right.
thank you for it.
Thank you so much because whatever I'm kind of reading in the last few days, I'm very much tempted to share. So I was trying to revise chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, and these days we keep experimenting. So we decided we will learn every 10th shlok.
Mm.
And so I could learn every 10th shlok in the second chapter. For example, the first shlok, 10th shlok, 20th, 30th, 40th, 50th, 60th, and 70th, because there are total 72. And also the first and the last. Then I was, even more tempted. Why not every fifth shlok? So I'm actually going through that excitement of learning every fifth shlok in the second chapter. And in the
Nice.
process, this idea has struck me that on the soul alone, Sri Krishna has spoken about 15 to 16 verses. And those verses are so amazing. Like I was saying, अच्छेद्योयम अक्लेद्योयम अदाह्योयम अशोष्यम एव च सर्वगत अस्थानुर अचल अचलोयम सनातनः. Look at the appellations. Look at the the adjectives, that the soul that we have is such that it cannot be cut, it cannot be dried, it cannot be wetted, it cannot be burnt, and it is immortal, it is ageless, it is unborn. So, and how many times he is repeating the same concept? He says, "Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuya ajoyam shashvatoyam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire." So, day before yesterday, one of our colleagues' father, he passed away. So he had gone to meet him in Mumbai, and he was with him. He had lost his mother a couple of years back. So father was there in Mumbai, and I think alone. So he works in Singapore. So he went there. And then he thought, okay, he will send his father to US where his sister lives. And father was, I think, 84. So he went to US, he reached there, and then he started getting the news that he is having severe cold, etc. And then he got the news that he passed away. So I had sent this shloka to him, you know, um, Najayate mriyate va kadachin. the soul is neither born nor it ever dies. The soul is eternal, ageless, infinite. And when the body is destroyed, the soul is not destroyed. So graphically, Shri Krishna talks about it. Again, he repeats, Vasansi jiranani yatha vihaya tatha sharirani yatha sharirani naroparan grihnati sharirani naroparani. He says, like a person sheds the dirty clothes and wears the new cloth, the soul discards the old body and wears the new body. So the description of the soul is so amazing. And he concludes by saying, Ascharyavad pashyati kaschidena mascharyavad anyatha vachainam anyatha. He says, Vadati, he says, no one can, people talk about the soul, but they cannot describe it. People hear about it, but they cannot describe it. It is so amazing. So that is what I just thought as a part of the Tattva Gyan I will share. Now let's hear from Sheila ji.
Ji.
Radhe Radhe Bhaiya. All these, the Tattva Gyan has been really, really very useful. And it, like Yatin Bhaiya was saying, it reinforces and sort of, puts us back on thinking mode that, we need to be reminded on a daily basis, basically. So that's what it was. And also a lovely session. But what I find very difficult to fathom is in this lineage, like somebody having 1 billion sons. I mean, it's beyond comprehension, to say the least. And I don't even want to think beyond it, because it'll just, it will confuse the mind. So just let it be, kind of a thing. But it's interesting to know that people had that kind of sort of, so many children, and they must have been doing a great job of upbringing of those children as well. Otherwise, they won't have them in the first instance, I'm sure of it. But yeah, and the other thing is, these sessions are really profound and very good. So thank you ever such a lot for all your preparation time, and how you retain the knowledge, not knowledge, how you even remember even, the bhakti challenge that the three didis are doing in Kripalu Dham. I remember and I recite, but after a few weeks, the first two bhakti challenges are completely out of my head. So you have a great memory. Thank you for sharing everything.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about my memory, but I think 30 years of Bhagavad Gita, perhaps a few, which I always wanted to do. And I'm so happy that I'm able to remember some. And so that is my commitment for this year, a kind of target that there are 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita. So each chapter, memorize every 5th verse. So earlier my target was every 10th verse. Now I have escalated so to make it every 5th verse. So for example, there are 700 verses in Bhagavad Gita. So every 5th verse means about 140 verses you will remember in the process. And which gives a very beautiful idea of the chapter, if you know the every 5th verse.
Yeah.
So that, right. We still
We've got
have
a
a
new
little time.
participant today, haven't we? We've got Malaji Patel. Yatin Bhaiya, would you like?
Yeah. Mala, would you like to say something? I see you joined this session first time here today.
Yeah, any introduction? So we can give her time to think and come back.
Yeah.
So, right. So every fifth shloka is a very beautiful experiment, in my opinion. I'm happy to discover this method of learning. And just to share an example, the second chapter is Sankhya Yoga, where it begins with Sanjay telling Dhritarashtra. So Sanjay says, Tam tatha kripya vishtam ashupurna kulekchanam visidantam idam vakyam uvacha madhusudana. So he is saying, O Madhusudan, Sanjay is telling Dhritarashtra that Madhusudan, the Lord Madhusudan, Sri Krishna, now has heard Arjun lamenting, and Arjun is so perturbed, so distressed. His eyes are full of tears. So this is what Sri Krishna has spoke. And then, if you know the fifth verse, which in this case is Gurun hatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum bhakshma piha loke hatvart kamanstu guruni eva bunjiya bhogana rudir pradigdan. He chastises Arjun in the second, third verse, but Arjun again starts lamenting. So the whole picture comes before you. You know the shloka, the picture is before you, so your understanding of the chapter gets better. And then in the 10th shlok, Sanjay is again telling Dhritarashtra, Tamu vacha Rishikesha, Tamu vacha Rishikesha, Prahasaniva Bharata, Ubhayoru Madhye, Visidantam Idam Vachaha. Simple shloka. This is what Sri Krishna spoke to Arjun now. And then the lecture of Bhagavad Gita begins in the second chapter. Ashocyan anvashocastvam pagyavadanshya bhasase gatasuna gatasunscha nanu shochanti pandita na tvevaham jatu nasam na tvam neme janadhipa nahi vyatyantyete yamhi na vyatyantyete purusham purusharsava sam dukkha sukha dhiram so amritvaya kalpate. So Sri Krishna begins with this knowledge that this distress and happiness and cold and heat, it is like coming and going. These are fleeting. So learn how to tolerate it. And a person like you of your caliber is supposed to show the strength, the valor, the fortitude. So, and then he starts talking about the soul. 20th sloka na jayate mriyate va kadachin. 30th shloka, he continues to talk about the soul. Dehi nityam avadhyoyam dehe sarvatra bharata sarvagata bharata. And then he starts talking about the swadharma. Arjun, soul and all I spoke about, but you also have a duty to perform. If you don't perform your duty, you are transgressing the rules. So he talks about swadharma. And then he comes to that how your karma should be. Should it be as per the Vedic rituals, or should it be in the remembrance of God? So he talks about that. Neha bhi karma nasho asti pratyavayo na vidyate. So then he goes on to Karma Yoga, which all of us know. Karmanyavadika raste mavaleshu kadachana. And then he comes to the Sthit Pragya, that definition. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyaiva atmana tushta sthit pragyas dochyate. And then he comes to the 70th shloka, where he talks about how is the mind of a yogi who has attained the karma yoga, the ability to perform karma yoga. Apuryamanam achila pratistham samudramapa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kama yah pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kama kami. Like thousands and thousands of rivers are entering the ocean, but the ocean remains unperturbed, calm. Similarly, the mind of the yogi is such that thousands of streams of thoughts and desires are entering the mind, but the yogi remains unperturbed. And finally, Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, concludes with the 72nd shlok. Esa Brahmi sthiti partha nainam prapya vimuhyati. Sthitva syat antakalepi brahma nirvana richati. So this karma yoga becomes so fixated in the person's individuality that even at the time of death, if he remembers for a moment, he attains the Brahma Nirvana, the complete cessation of sorrow and the advent of complete bliss. So this method, I'm very happy to say that, this discovery is making it very exciting, and I'm looking forward to next chapter and the next chapter to repeat the same. Thank you.
Right. And during all this, we actually, I mean, as you already said, we have to need to remember this is the gist, like this knowledge Shri Krishna spoke to Arjun. This is in like very second form, like very much of gist. So each shloka has a very deep meaning behind it, and like I mean, if someone explains it, it will take a lot of time in explaining this thing. So as you said, like yeah, I mean. So 15 shlokas on the soul itself is like 15, 30, 40 pages or something. So it's too much knowledge, and he already has given in this form. And yeah, I mean, this method of reading is like you progress. You don't have to like remember everything, like only 5, 5, 10, 15, the 20th, and then you get the gist of like how it is progressing also, and you don't feel like overwhelmed that okay, there are so many shlokas and everything. Yeah, so this like, idea is very good actually. So maybe I can also do this when I try to read it. Yeah, nice,
Wonderful.
nice. Okay.
Anyone else? Smita Didi, Ananya?
राधे राधे भैया, राधे राधे दीदी।
Radhe Radhe.
आज गीता का एक श्लोक मैं भी पढ़ना चाहती हूँ, वो मेरा फेवरेट है। वो मैं पढ़ रही हूँ, 2 लाइन का ही है। असंशयं महाबाहो मनो दुर्निग्रहं चलम् अभ्यासेन तु कौन्तेय वैराग्येन च गृह्यते। इसका मीनिंग दिया हुआ है भैया। O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly tough to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by constant practice and by detachment. हे महाबाहो, निसंदेह मन चंचल और कठिनता से वश में होने वाला है। परंतु हे कुंती पुत्र, उसे अभ्यास और वैराग्य के द्वारा वश में किया जा सकता है। राधे राधे।
Radhe Radhe. So this is 635, because in 634 Arjun has asked the question. First Sri Krishna explained, do this, do this. In 30th verse Sri Krishna says 630. This is 6th chapter Dhyan Yoga. So 30वें श्लोक में श्री कृष्ण कहते हैं, श्री कृष्णा is saying, योमाम पश्यन्ति सर्वत्र सर्वं मय्ये पश्यति तस्याहं न प्रणश्यामि सच मे न प्रणश्यति. Those who see me in everything, those who see me everywhere, I am never lost to them and they are never lost to me. So he says this in 30th. So he keeps talking about the meditation and the methods, etc. Then Arjun reacts in 34. He asks a question. Chanchalam hi mana krishnam pramati balvadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayo riva sudushkaram. Oh Shri Krishna, you are asking me to control my mind, but how to control my mind? The mind is so fickle, it is so strong, it is so obstinate, it is so restless. It is like stopping the Vayu, the wind. And that's where this shloka which you read came about, is revealed. Ashanshaya mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagena chagrihate. I agree with you, Arjun. It is not possible. I agree with you. It is difficult to control the mind, but it is not impossible. It is durnigraham. It is not anigraham. With abhyas and vairagya, with practice and detachment, you can subdue your mind. So this is the most iconic shlok which you shared. So thank you very much, Smitaji.
बहुत ही सही बात कही गई है भैया। ये 2 लाइन में भगवान ने इतना सुंदर सा संदेश दे दिया है कि सिर्फ आप अपने मन को कंट्रोल करो और थोड़ा सा डिटैचमेंट लाओ लाइफ में, प्रैक्टिस में रहो चीजों के, अच्छी चीजों के, तो हर कुछ संभव है आपके द्वारा। तो बहुत ही अच्छा है एक विद्यार्थी के लिए, एक गृहस्थ के लिए, और दुनिया में जो भी जिस भाव से जहाँ पे हैं उन सभी के लिए यह श्लोक इतना ज्यादा मुझे लगता है कि लाइफ में प्रैक्टिस करने योग्य है। और इन सभी जो भी चीजें आपने अभी तक बताई हैं आत्मा के बारे में, और जो श्लोक आपने कहे, मतलब क्या कहें, ये गीता जो है अपने आप में उसका मतलब कुछ सीमा नहीं है उसकी, कितनी प्रशंसा की जाए। ये सब चीजों को सुनने और पढ़ने के बाद जो भी एक जिंदगी से जो आदमी को इतना अटैचमेंट हुआ रहता है, फैमिली के लिए जो इतना चिंता रहती है, जैसे मैं जब इंडिया से यहाँ आई थी तो मुझे ना हमेशा ध्यान वहीं रहता था, माँ क्या कर रही होगी, कैसी होगी, या भाई लोग कैसे हैं, मतलब सबके बारे में पॉजिटिव चीजें कम, निगेटिव चीजें ज्यादा दिमाग में चलती थी। तो मैं संशय वाली स्थिति थोड़ी, ऐसा तो मैं मेरे रहने से कोई अंतर वहां पड़ नहीं रहा था, लेकिन फिर भी एक दिमाग में ना सुंदर ख्याल कम और कुछ निगेटिव ख्याल ज्यादा होते थे। लेकिन ये सब बातें जब आप सुनते हो भगवान ने जो अर्जुन से कही हैं और धीरे धीरे उसका मनन चिंतन करते रहते हैं, तो ज्यादा ये जो जिंदगी है ना उसमें फिर लगता है कि वो मैं क्या बोलूं, जो मन में जो एक आशंका, एक डर और एक जैसे अनहोनी वाली चीजों का धीरे धीरे वो घटता जाता है। आप बहुत ही न्यूट्रल भाव से फिर होते जाते हो, मतलब आपके दिमाग से चिंता भी हट जाती है, आप बहुत संतुलित ढंग से रहने लगते हो। तो ये बहुत बहुत प्रभावकारी चीजें आपने बताई। पूरा का पूरा ये सेशन बहुत सुंदर था भैया। और क्या
जी
कुछ आप लोगों ने शेयर किया वो बहुत ही चिंतनीय और हमेशा उसको अपने दिमाग में दोहराने वाली बातें थी, और उन सब के साथ जीवन में आगे बढ़ना बहुत ही आसान हो जाएगा। राधे राधे भैया।
क्योंकि जो आपने कहा, बिल्कुल जिंदगी खुशहाल हो जाती है। जैसे आपने कहा कि आप लंदन आए और माइंड थोड़ा डिस्टर्ब्ड है, और वो कैसे होंगे। तो यही तो जो अटैचमेंट्स है हमको खुश नहीं रहने देता है, हमको हर समय। और वो जो वर्ldly प्रेम है, एक तरह से उसमें भी इतना सारा दिखावा है जो रियलिटी नहीं है। ज्यादातर एक्सपेक्टेशंस ही है सबका, चाहे सिबलिंग हो या कोई भी हो। आपने थोड़ा कुछ इधर उधर 19-20 होने से कितना मुश्किल हो जाता है। तो रियल प्रेम है कहाँ? रियल प्रेम तो तब है कि जब कोई एक्सपेक्टेशन ना हो। लेकिन एक्सपेक्टेशंस तो भरे हुए हैं हमारे रिलेशन में, तो उससे तो बंधन है, उससे मुक्त हो जाए तो बहुत अच्छा है। और मुक्त होने पे मुझे लगता है कि रिलेशनशिप ज्यादा हेल्दी हो जाता है, ज्यादा अच्छा हो जाता है, ज्यादा प्रेम हो जाता है, रियल प्रेम बन जाता है। तो इसीलिए तो कृष्णा थोड़े ही ये कहते हैं कि कोई चीज छोड़ दो। We can very much remain in the station, we can very much remain connected, but we are looking at everything in the right perspective. Isn't that so much better? Or isn't that the ultimate? Right, we have already exceeded the time a lot. So over to Yatin ji to conclude the session.
जी भैया, so all always looking forward to the discussions afterward. So everyone has like, I mean, you and all people like have different viewpoints and the knowledge to share. So always great to be part of this and looking forward to the next session. Yeah.
Thank you
जी
so much. बोलिए श्रीमद सदगुरु सरकार की
की
जय।
जय,
श्रीमद युगल सरकार की
की
जय।
जय,
जय जय श्री
श्री
राधे।
Radhe,
जय
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 श्री
श्री
Shri
राधे।
राधे,
Radhe,
जय
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 श्री
श्री
Shri
राधे।
राधे।
Radhe.
जय जय श्री राधे। राधे राधे।